This is Coach Dixon, Just Throw It, Texas. And we're going to talking about some of the basic things of coverages and everything. All right, so let's get into it. Here are the 8 basic coverages that I want you to learn about on this presentation. Sorry about that, but you know how things get sometimes. Coverages. Every quarterback needs to understand how to read these coverages. If you listen to me or ever come to my YouTube channel, you're going to see me showing quarterbacks and everything how to do their mechanics and their discipline and their skills. But you're going to always hear me telling them about how to read coverages. That's what makes me a little different than a lot of the other quarterback trainers. We have like board work. We spend just as much time teaching you the do's and don'ts of quarterbacking mentally. You got to be able to read the basic coverages, especially in the youth center, middle schools, and high school. If you can't read the 4 basic coverages, you know, you're not getting out of that group, middle school, high school. You might get a college scholarship, but it's going to be based on your running ability. And to stay in college, it depends on what college you go to, you have to be able to read the coverages. You got to be able to look over the field and see what they're doing from your pre-snap read and post-snap read. All right? Preaching to the choir, right? All right. You have cover 0, cover 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a cover 6, cover 8. You even have a cover 9. You have split field coverages. And each one of these coverages, you have what they call sky, cloud, buzz. So you could take a cover 3, sky, cover 3, cloud, cover 3, buzz. Cover 4, sky, cover 4, buzz. And then you have quarter coverage. Quarters and cover 4 is a little different. Cover 4 is basically the 4 defensive backs are playing deep, have deep 1/4 of the field. Okay? And quarters, most of the time it's like a matchup zone. They don't never come up and playing the flats in cover 4. Okay. All right. I probably just mixed you up. That's good. All right. Let's get into it. Cover 0 is the full man coverage with no free safeties help to guard the post and could be accommodated by a blitz from the defensive front linebackers and defensive backs. Usually they have 5 or 6 rushers coming at you. And they're going to blitz you. Just remember, they're going to blitz you. Whenever you see that cover 0, no safety in the middle of the field, it's blitzing. Especially in high school, for some reason, I still don't know, when they on the hash and you 3rd down and 5, they going to blitz you. And especially if you don't see no safeties in the middle of the field. Okay. Now the strength of cover 0 is playing man on all backs and receivers with the ability to bring more than 4 rushers with a variety of twists, dog stunts, blitz, and to confuse the protection of the quarterback. See, because most of the time when you in other higher levels, quarterbacks are responsible for calling, run protection. They're telling the line which way to slide, to block, and as they're looking out and they see that middle of the field is open, and they're looking at the depth and leverages of the cornerbacks, and they see everybody's up tight man to man, No safeties in the middle of the field. I'm on the hash mark. Oh, you best believe I'm getting ready to get blitz. Okay? Now, the weaknesses of cover zero is the corners and the safeties have no inside help. Most of the time, they're going to be lined up to the inside. One foot to the inside, or on the other side shade of the man that they guarding, because they have no help to the inside. They want really to him to go to the outside. That's why they're going to place themselves to the inside. So when you notice that, no safeties in the middle of the field, the cornerbacks are, and everybody are probably up. Either they can be up within a yard or two on the line of scrimmage playing bump and run, or just face guarding him. They're going to be to the inside, looking straight at him. All right. Now, like a coaching point to this, the most man coverage is well disguised except with a secondary blitz from the weak corner, free safety or strong safety with no free in the center field. The secondary usually takes inside positions, right? And all receivers make their way to their post routes, because what they want to do, they want to take away the post routes and the quick slants. And they want to make you get back there and hitch up a couple times so that blitz can get to you. That's the whole object of this. Make it hard for you to make quick throws so their defensive line can get to you. And the different variations, like I say, bump and run, defensive back playing in the bump position and trying to disrupt the wide receiver and the quarterback timing off the line of scrimmage. Press defensive backs playing 3 to 4 yards off the receiver without contact. This looks to make the wide receiver hesitate and adjust. But if you understand, they can be playing cover zero. People do not have to be up on the line of scrimmage bumping and run. They can be 5 to 6 yards back, but they still can be in cover zero. They try to trick you. They'll even come up and they'll look like a cover two, and their head all turned to the side looking at the quarterback, but they're in man-to-man. You got to get a feel of this team. You got to study what this team does. You got to look at the film. You got to ask the coaches, hey, coach, can I see the film on such and such school? You know, let me see what they doing. Okay, now let's look at a basic drawing of my cover zero up here. If you look at it, I have the cover zero. Quarterback walk out there, the first thing he looks at, down and distance. The clock, down, distance, clock. How much time I got to do it in? Then he look at the middle of the field, open or close. I see no safeties. I look to the left and to the right and to the middle. Look at the depth and leverage of the cornerbacks. Oh, I see that I have middle of the field is open. I'm looking at the cornerbacks. They're like 2 or 3 yards off my wide receiver, then all playing to the inside. I'm looking at their free safety. He's up and he's playing a little bit to the inside of my H-back. I'm looking at the Willie linebacker. He's playing a little bit inside of the H-back. I'm on the hash mark. Okay? Now I'm looking at the other side. I'm looking at the cornerback on my Z and Y. The safety is playing to the inside of them like 1 yard. So I'm looking at this. I'm saying, okay, this is like a cover zero. Then I have many forms of the cover zero drawn up on the many types of offenses down here. I got my REO, regular offensive types that they're sitting in with a 3-by-1. 3 wide receivers to one side, 1 on the other side, 1 running back in the back. Okay, I have it drawn up here, and you go over here, you got the RAM, and you look at here, look at no deep safeties, middle of the field, open. Still got 1 back in here, and I got a tight end basically on the line. Look at the free safety over the tight end. Look at the strong safety playing to the Y. Look at that. Then I got down here. You come down here, you look at the R. I got a I formation in the backfield. I got a tight end on offense and a X and a Z. Nobody in the middle of the field. It's open. The rest of the safeties them are up and they're eyeing in the backfield of the people they guarding. One is taking my tailback, the other one taking my fullback. If I own the hash, I know that I'm getting ready to get blitzed. And who can blitz me? It probably can be from the Willie linebacker, the Mike, or here, the free safety might even come. Okay. Now you go over here and you look at the RT. I'm in the I formation. I have two wide out separated from the line of scrimmage. The same thing. You're looking at now who can be their blitzers. If I'm looking at the end, I see the defensive man to man. I'm looking at the Willie and the Sam. I'm saying possible they are the blitzers because they have the Mike and the free safety is basically in the middle. The free safety is closer to the line. So I got two running backs back there. So I know the Mike probably got one and the free safety got the other one. But if you notice, when they're doing all this blitzing like that, if I can come free and it's man to man, I'm going to run. Okay? Because if I get away from that blitz, my wide receivers are taking those men out. So they should have their backs turned to me. Okay? Then the other one down here, the ace right. As you're looking at this, one tight end, and I have, two tight end offense. Look at the free safety and the strong safety. Look where they are. Look where my offense put them now. Just by having two tight ends there, they still in man to man. They playing to the inside of that to my receivers. Okay. Now you come over here as my empty. Then I put them in empty, and as they're in empty set, you see where the defense is. We spread the defense out a little bit, and the sure way that you could tell if they're in man to man, if I want to be sure, just run somebody in motion. And if they follow him, I'm in man to man. If they follow him to a certain extent, then he stops. The one of the defense back stops, and then as my man is going across the field, another one of the defensive people picks him up. Then they're in zone. Okay. How we looking at it? This is cover one. The theory. Cover one is the man coverage with a free safety help in the center field, strong over the top or weak over the top. The coverage could be accommodated by a blitz from a defensive front, linebackers, and or defensive back. Usually has 5 rushers. It's kind of like cover 0, but only they got a high safety, a man free, high. Okay, the strength of the cover 1 is playing man on all backs and receivers with help from a free safety in the deep middle and over. The strength of cover 1 is playing man-to-man to all the backs and receivers with help from a safety on the top, the deep middle. Over the strong weak period of the defense is also the ability to bring more than one or 2 people on the blitz. Same thing. If they catch you on that hash mark, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, they coming. Weaknesses of the cover 1 is that the linebackers are a man-to-man on the back, weak side slot receiver. So if they don't bring in defensive backs and they got linebackers guarding your slot receivers and your running backs coming out of the backfield, you should be able to hit them with some pretty good plays if you run some routes where your faster speed guys can outrun the defense to a certain area, so you can deliver the ball to them. The coaching points. Strong safety is usually the only defensive player to alter this alignment in the cover 1 by moving inside before the leverage of coverages. The different variations of this is A, bump and run, defensive back playing up in the bump and run position and trying to disrupt the wide receivers and the quarterback's timing off the line of scrimmage. B, press, defensive back playing 3 to 4 yards off the receiver without contact. This looks to make the wide receiver hesitate and adjust his routes. Okay, and as you're looking at cover 1, it kind of looks like cover 3, but they got a deep safety in the middle of the field. He's to help on all long passes. Everybody else is running man-to-man underneath. Remember I told you, if they, on your wide receivers, everybody's playing step to the inside because they really don't have a lot of help to the inside. They got one safety there, so they're going to try to keep you out of the inside. And then I have it, had you look at the different offensive formations. This is probably where they'll line up on you with different blitz packages that could be coming. So as the quarterback, your object, you have the mic. You have to notice where he is all the time. You in the center, you calling out his name most of the time. Now in high school, you probably ain't gonna do it, but it depends on your play system that you have. Coach might, if you understand what you do, he might want you to point out where the mic is at. You in the center, you know. Then go robber coverage. The theory of robber coverage should force offenses to throw the ball outside or drop. Generally, should have a safety spinning to the side of the B gap or the bubble. Number 2, the strength, strong versus the run, because defense outnumbers the offense in the box. Strong versus the pass over the middle because of the presence of a low hole or high hole defender. That's usually a linebacker, that strong safety that be coming down. He might come down into the middle, or a linebacker might run into the middle, into the hole. And the safety could play in deep hole over the top of that linebacker. Okay? It's stronger against screen passes and boots. Quarterback bootleg. Weakness. Puts pressure on the cornerbacks on the outside vertical routes because it is a man-free coverage. Weak versus crack schemes and weak versus bunch routes and rubs, because it's basically like a man-to-man almost, you know. And if you bunched all up, it's hard to find your person. See, now as you look at the robber, it's basically like a cover 3. And it's basically like a man at the same time. It's a man free. You look at that. That cornerback is on the outside. He has him, and he has him locked up in man. Look at the Willie. You have to look for mismatch. And that could be a great mismatch. Your halfback on the outside linebacker and your halfback or slot receiver is playing in the slot. You know, maybe you can get him on a wheel route. If that safety drops down, playing in the rat or the hole position, see he drops in that hole, and the other safety have to cover him. The free safety have to cover into his spot if he drops down, because the mic is on the running back, strong side running back. Strong side running back goes to the flat. The mic is gonna go with him, but we still need somebody in that hole, so that go the hole dropper. Okay, is he just rotating? The safety is just rotating down into the middle of the field. Okay, and he's trying to rob the curls, or he can try to rob the post. But anything over the middle of the field, he's trying to rob the curl. Okay, now you go into like cover 2. In theory, cover 2 is a zone coverage. 5 of the 7 underneath zones are covered with 2 defensive backs playing in the deep half coverage. It gives very good coverage versus the quick game. The corner's basic job is to funnel the wide receivers to the inside play, the outside flats, The funnel is very important to allow the half-field defenders to get their depth in the position. The linebackers have the normal hook to curl and drop. Strength. The strength of a cover 2 is 5 of the 7 underneath zones are covered. Also, it allows a chance to collision all receivers and disrupt their routes to force the offense to throw to the harder passes. Weaknesses. The weaknesses of the cover 2 can be if there are 3 or 4 receivers get a fast vertical release on the 2 deep defensive backs or defenders. We have like coaching points in mind is that they're always between the rolled up defenders, corners, and linebackers, and the safeties is void, which can be the offensive favor when the receiver gets vertical quicks. The different variations of this is now match. The matchup between underneath defenders reading 1 and 2. They can be playing 2 read. When I say reading 1 and 2, the safeties and the cornerbacks can be reading your number 1 receiver or your number 2 receiver. If one goes in, the other one is going to go out. They're reading the pattern drops. Okay. B. Tag inside and outside underneath defenders may match up and play man coverage with the 2 zones over top. 2 wide equals cover 2. That's a little bit of my algebra that I like to put in, because I told you I like to teach algebra, and I make algebra problems as the coverages. C. Invert. From a cover sky alignment with free safeties and a strong corner playing the half field coverage, the strong safety will cover the flats. And then the robber, the secondary, distinguishing either the free or strong safety to rob the curl to the crossing route, while the opposite safety shows cover 1. Sometimes the backfield linebacker, usually can play the robber. Okay, now up on the big board, here you go. Cover 2. See how the cornerbacks are lined up? Now, as a quarterback, well, I would tell you, first thing you do, look in the middle of the field, look at time, distance, look at that clock. Bring your eyes down to the safeties in the middle of the field, open or close. That is open. See how them safeties are back on them, like the hash? They're probably around about 14 yards back from the line of scrimmage. Depth and leverage of the cornerbacks. Cornerbacks in here and probably straight up. Depends on what the side of the field. Probably straight up, and they're trying to funnel you inside, because now he has help to the inside. So he might play you a little bit to the outside because he's going to try to push you in. Look at the outside linebackers, the Will and the Sam. They got hook to curl. Okay, then you have a hole dropper, is that Mike. He got hook to curl into the flat, and this cornerback, the outside linebackers, or depends on what defense it is, you have to look. They could be in a dime package in this. And these numbers instead of 52 and 61, them numbers could be 23 and 28. That means they're defensive backs. Okay? So, you as a quarterback, you have to know what's going on. All right, then it goes down here, the same different setups and different formations I have and how they're going to be guarding it, with the different drops of the linebackers. So they have 5 underneath coverages. The safety, he got the flats. The 2 outside linebackers got hook to curl, and the middle of the field is guarded by the middle linebacker. Okay, the 2 safeties are playing over top. All right, now you get into Tampa 2 coverage. Tampa 2 is a pass situation coverages where you kind of know that this team likes to throw stuff down the middle, and they're gonna try to run your 2 safeties off and throw passes like post passes down the middle. That's where you take your middle linebacker and you drop him down the center of the field. Because if you notice that in the Tampa 2, it looks just like a cover 2. You're going to come out the quarterback. Look at the down, the distance, and the time. Look at the middle of the field, open and close. Okay, depth and leverage of the cornerbacks. How the cornerbacks' eyes are looking. How are they body leaning? How they looking on my wide receivers. How the strong safeties and free safeties looking at my wide receivers. Okay, that's what you're going to be looking at. The theory of the Tampa 2 is the pass situation coverage. Like I say, strength, strong versus the pass. Can cover 4 verticals with 2 safeties and 2 corners. Strong versus 3-step pass because of the 5 underneath defenders that they have. Weaknesses, weak versus the run because of the numbers. The area between the safeties, weak in the area between the 2 safeties. If you can get back there, because that middle linebacker is dropping, you got to have somebody to beat him over top. He's not a good matchup. All right, you can get past him and over top of him, you can hurt it bad. As you come out there and you're looking, it looks just like a cover 2. But now, if you look down the middle of the field, first thing you're looking at that scoreboard, time, distance, where I have to go, what I have to do, and how much time I got it to do it in. You look at the safety, middle of the field, open or close. It's open. Depth and leverage of the cornerbacks. The cornerbacks are playing to the outside. Why? Because they got funnel help in the inside. Look at the 2 outside linebackers or the 2 safeties. Okay? I'm located on the hash, but at the same time, I'm looking for the blitz. I don't see too many people that can come in and blitz me because of the lineup. So as I'm doing that check down, that's all in my pre-snap read. Okay, now they go to different of the many variations of the offensive schemes that I set up from I formation, split back, and empty set. That's how they would probably line up on you. And remember, you notice that on the pre-snap and the post-snap. Okay, after you get the ball, it's the post-snap, you drop him back. 1 or 2 steps, they're going to show what they're doing. You see that middle linebacker taking off down the middle of the field fast as he can. That's Tampa 2. Now, a lot of y'all have never ran into an invert coverage. Invert is when you have like the safeties are playing the flats and the 2 cornerbacks are playing the deep. So it's inverted from a cover 2. When the safeties roll back, the safeties roll down and they playing the flats. And they could even call that a buzz because they can come down and play the outside linebacker spots, and outside linebackers can play to the flats. And the safeties can play hook to curl. Or they can come down and they can play the flats, and the 2 cornerbacks will take off, bailing, getting out of there, playing the deep halves. Now, and they could be playing the robber also, because that safety could come down, and you think he's going into the flats, but he's playing the robber technique. He's trying to take away your post, and he's trying to rob the curl. You probably won't see that too much in high school football, but you might. The strength, it allows maximum numbers in the box. It's like an 8 or 9-man front. The weaknesses in the outside perimeter. Weak against 4 verticals because you only got 2 people playing, the 2 cornerbacks going back. And if you send 4 verticals at them, then problems. And the play action pass. Most of these defenses cannot withstand a good play action pass. That's why quarterback coaches and head coaches should be kicking butt if they quarterbacks are not carrying out they fake, especially on the play action pass, you put that ball into their stomach and you pull it out. You make that head turn around and follow like you just gave the ball off, and then you pull that ball up, get your correct steps, and you throw the ball. That's how invert look. Okay? Look at the free safety coming down. He can come down and rob that post. You see this, and you say, oh, well, they playing the inverted with the cornerback dropping back. I'm gonna go to the post. Nope, nope. That safety is gonna get your post. Cover 3. It is a zone coverage. Rotation 3 deep zone. Defenders with 4 to 7 underneath zone covered and 4-man rush. The direction of the rotation can be strong or weak, determined on the flow of the ball and called by the defense. The strength of cover 3 is 3 deep passing zones are defended. Weaknesses. The weakness of a cover 3 is only 4 of the 7 underneath zones are defended. The quick game and the short outside zones are left open. You got, different coaching points. Short zones are left open, so you got to guard them. The different variations of cover 3. Cloud corner plays a hard jam funnel technique and defends the flat rather than the curl first. B, match up between the underneath defenders reading 1 and 2. They can be playing 2 read and 2 to 3 patterns, reading the drops. Like I say, if they're reading the drops, they're reading the cornerback or a safety, the cornerback and the strong safety, depends who's up there. They're reading the 2 wide receivers. If one of your wide receivers go an in route, the safety will take him. If he goes to the out, cornerback will take him and the safety will drop deep because they're reading the routes of your people. C, tag inside and outside underneath defenders may match up and play man coverage with the 2 zones over top. Example, H3 equals cover 3. D, robber, the secondary showing cover 3 and the free safety is robbing the curl and the crossing routes. B, corner alignments where he shows bump and run and press coverage on the snap. He will bail out to play deep third. Okay, that's cover 3. Take a good look at it and all the different offenses and where the cover 3 is lined up. The middle field, open or close? Close. Depth and leverage of the cornerbacks, 8 to 10 yards back. All head, turn around looking at the quarterback. Willie and Sam linebackers to the inside. They got the flats. Cover 4. This is a zone reading coverage. This is 4 deep coverage, which reads the routes of the receivers back to the determination, the leverage of each quarter. The safeties and the corners will play quarters, depending on the route of the number 2. This allows help on all of verticals, in addition of the possibility of playing the number 1. From the post to the curl can be disguised from cover 2 look. The linebackers have coverages based on the release of the receivers in the back. The strengths. Cover 4 is a 4 deep defender against the deep ball. Gives great run support from the safeties to give almost 9 man in the front. Weakness. The weakness of cover 4 is linebackers will be reading receivers, trying to cover backs and play zone responsibility. Coaching point. Play action passes give linebackers problem in defending the run and the pass variations. The ball. Corners alignments where he shows bump and run and press coverage on the snap. He will also bail out. You know, just because these defenses, these people look like they're playing one defense, but they're not. But when you take your first snap, post snap read, they have to show where they at. But you got to understand the coverage, or you're not going to know anything anyway. Whether you doing a pre-snap read or a post-snap read, because if you don't know what they are, you can't do them. You don't know how to decipher the information in your head because you've never been taught. Your coaches ain't trying to teach you. They just want you to pull that ball down and run. Save their job. Run. They're not going to get with these quarterback coaches and try to teach you these things because it takes too much time. They don't trust you anyway. They don't trust a 14 to 18-year-old high school quarterback out there trying to read coverages. A lot of them don't think you're smart enough, and they just want your athletic ability anyway to hand the ball off, do play action, throw deep. But that's all you're going to do. You're not going to make it in college. They don't care whether you make it in college. All they care is save their job so their family can eat, get them a reputation so they can move on to their next job. That's the honest truth. Now, a lot of people get that mixed up with cover 4 and quarters. It's a little different. It's a little different. Sometimes people always say they playing cover 4. Cover 4 is different than really quarters. Quarters, you can match up like a man-to-man. Whoever comes in your area, you got him and you stay on him. Cover 4 is everybody back playing at 1/4 of the field. 3 people underneath. Okay? All kinds of little crossing routes, shallow crosses can hurt cover 4. But in quarters, you can kind of stop those crossing routes and shallow routes because you can match up with them if you plan it that way. Now, here goes another one that's called, it's like cover 8. You have cover 6 and you can have a cover 8. It's a 2-deep man underneath defense with 4-man rush. It gives you a very good coverage versus a quick game. Strength of the cover 8 is a very receiver. Every receiver and back is covered man to man with the deep help. Give quicker recognition on screens and draws. Challenge receivers when you have help from deep safety. Corners can play outside leverage. Weaknesses. The weaknesses of cover 8 is the linebackers must cover backs man to man, and option can hurt the coverage. Coach's point. The receivers must be ready to stay on the move with underneath routes and create throwing lanes for the quarterback. Different variations that they can run it on you. Bump and run. Defensive backs playing in the bump and run, trying to disrupt the wide receivers and the quarterback timing of the lineman scrimmage. Press. Defensive backs playing 3 to 4 yards off the receiver without contact. This looks is made to the wide receivers hesitating and adjust their route. Play on the ball. Corner alignments where he shows bump and run, press coverage on the snap. He will bail out. It's basically cover 2 man. That's what it is. They just call it a cover 8, but it's cover 2 man. Okay? So you look at it, you look in the middle of the field, open. Depth and leverage of the cornerbacks. You notice they looking like they're playing man with 5 underneath, 2 safeties over top. Okay? Cover 2 man. or cover 8. Okay, that ends this presentation of coverages. I hope you paid attention, and I hope I spoke clearly so you can understand me. Sometimes I talk too fast because it just starts coming out of my head, and I forget, and I just keep going. So I'll be looking forward to making another presentations for you. And this is Coach Dixon, Just Throw It, Texas. See you later.